Good. Just want to let you guys know we are being recorded, like always. We are also live streaming into Harnett and Pittsburgh. We don't have a PowerPoint today, so it's very interactive. Feel free to ask questions, but just know that any of the questions you ask, we are being recorded. I'll stick this session up on Blackboard. It'll probably be next week. So if anybody, there's plenty of people that registered. If anybody couldn't make it and they want to view the presentation later, they can go on Blackboard. Professional Development 2016-17. It'll be under the Spring 2017 training series. But we are fortunate because we have the payroll guru here, Carla, and she's willing to answer your questions. I've sent her some in advance. But use your time wisely. If there's any questions you have, ask the lady while we have her attention. All right? Thank you.
Thanks, Daisha. So, I'm going to start with some of the questions that Daisha sent to me. The first one was pay advices, understanding your pay advices. And I know there's those two letters that are always in the upper left-hand corner that most people don't know. So I wrote down most of them. NI is non-instructional. So it's all staff members will have the NI. TP would be all of the faculty, so that's your teaching pay. So if you're ever looking to see what your gross monthly pay is and you see NI or TP and then you see VL, SL, or BL, VL is your vacation leave. Any hours you took that I'm keeping track of will be on there. SL is your sick leave, and then BL is your bonus leave. So if for 1 month you see your TP or NI with any one of those three, if you add that together, that should be your monthly salary for the month, gross monthly salary. So a lot of people ask me that question, like, how do I get my gross monthly salary? And so that's what it is. The other ones that you might typically see for the faculty, you'll see OL, which is your overload. You're gonna see LO, which is your longevity. Anybody been here 10 years longer, luckily you will get that once a year. BO would be any bonus. We've got that the last 2 years in a row, so that's why you'll see that typically around November-ish. RT, you probably won't see that very often. That would be if you had a salary increase of any kind and for some reason the timing of the increase or the status change form didn't get to me till like the next month, I will typically code whatever was attributed to the month before under RT for retro. So those are the codes that I can think of. Anything on the right-hand side of your pay advice, obviously under the deductions are all of your, benefits, insurance, all those coverages. They're typically self-explanatory, but if there's any that you guys can think of that you don't know what they are or have questions, let me know. Can't think of anything else on the pay advice. The section in the middle is your taxes. An easy way to know what you're claiming for your taxes, and I know I'm going to throw out a bunch of letter combinations to you all, but let me know if you have any questions. So FWHS would be federal withholding single, then you have your FWHM for married. So a lot of times on your W-4, when you see that married withhold at a higher rate, there technically isn't a tax table for that. So if you want to be withheld at a higher rate, what I'll tell people is just file single. Either that or file married and lower your exemptions or allowances to 0. And then for this year, I don't know what happened in the federal tax tables, but I've gotten a ton of W-4 changes. So now is the time of year that most people will do that. And so what I can tell you is what you're filing now. I can't obviously tell you for any intents purposes what you should file, but a lot of people this year have done either a single 0, married 0, and then in that box 6, you can add an additional amount that you want taken out of your paycheck. So if you thought this past year when you filed your taxes and you owed some money, you can always say, I want an additional $50, $25, $100, whatever it is that you feel once you've done your taxes would help you this year. When you see on those in that middle for the taxes, NCSP, that's North Carolina single. Then there's North Carolina MW, that's either married or widow. And then North Carolina does have the head of household. So if you're, say, a single parent or you have you're single and you have some dependents in your household, you can do North Carolina head of household. So there are 3 different tax tables that the system can calculate tax on for the state of North Carolina. And you can also, at this time of year, I've had some people fill out their state forms as well. I don't typically get as many state forms as I do federal forms, but by all means, if you're feeling like you need to change that, you can do that. And you can do it at any time. If you have some change in your life that you think your taxes will be affected, you can do it at any time. It just happens to be around this time of year. I get a lot more because people have filed their taxes. That kind of goes into the next question that Daisy asked me. Can you change it for your bonus or longevity? We do not encourage that at all because it's pretty much for our protection, your protection. It's not something we typically want you to do is to come, oh, hey, I'm getting a bonus. I'm going to claim married like 12 right now because I want as little tax taken out as possible. So it's best probably for tax purposes, at the end of the year when you go to file your taxes, probably to leave it consistent the whole year. Unless you have a life-changing event, marriage, divorce, something that would ultimately change your tax filing at the end of the year. So I don't encourage doing that during that bonus and longevity time. Let's see, what was the other question? How about qualifying events? So for insurance purposes, say health plan or most any of our insurances, marriage, divorce, having a child, with ACA, which we all know we have no idea what's going to happen this year with that. But currently, if your spouse or children have coverage somewhere else and they were to lose coverage, that would also be a life-changing event. Increasing a rate, though, say you're on your spouse's or your children are on your spouse's, increasing a rate is not. So you have to wait for one of those life-changing events or until October when you go ahead and make those changes. But now I'm going to kind of leave it up to you all. Because I'd rather this be interactive and you ask whatever questions that you can think of or topics that you want me to talk about, because I didn't want to get pigeonholed into, one specific topic, because, I get questions all day long. So by all means, if there's anything that you guys can think of that you want to know about anything payroll related.
So if you have you want to have more taxes taken out or more added, what is the form and how do you get the form?
So I think HR has it under their helpful files by the department under the intranet. If not, I always tell people, if you just Google 2017 W-4, which is your federal form, it's the first thing that pops up in your Google search. So it takes you 2 seconds. And it's a PDF, so you can just fill it out, print it off, and send it to me. For North Carolina, it's the NC4. And you would just fill that out and send it to me. And also you can Google that one as well, and it's the first thing that comes up. So I just tell people that's pretty much the easiest way to do it.
I think it's through the Department of Labor.
No, I think if you just type in NC4, it should pull it up in Google. I would hope it'd be a Department of Revenue, but I'm not sure about that. And if you get me anything, as you all know, I've posted it out there. If you get me anything by the 10th of the month, it will go into effect for that month. So any changes that you feel are necessary for your payroll, as long as I have it by the 10th, I will get it in for that payroll. Sure.
How do you find out your longevity?
If you call me, I'll tell you. Because it's the first of the month, Carl, and yours probably got adjusted a little bit because you were here and then gone.
Right.
But if you call me, I can just look it up
Okay.
and see what it is.
And though you don't suggest,
I do. The taxes.
someone could do that, right? Though you don't suggest.
I do not suggest that.
Okay. But you didn't answer negative on the other.
Right,
Someone
I
could
don't
do that.
know if I were to get a form, what would happen if
Okay,
that was
fair enough.
around that month.
Understood. By the 10th, all right.
Yes, by the 10th of the month of your longevity. Anybody else? Anything?
So when we go to get ready to retire,
Yes,
at the end, they pay us for all our leave days.
yes, up to 240 hours.
And then we have bonus leave on top of that.
Yes,
So that's gonna be a chunk.
yes.
Can that be siphoned off into your
401k.
401k?
So part of the
Not being
process,
taxed to death?
yes.
Okay.
So part of the process when people go through retirement, people will always come and just sit with me and I'll go over those type of scenarios because you will get paid out a maximum of 240 on your vacation and any bonus leave. So that's why they always say it's so good to hold on to that old bonus. Because if you were to ever, not just retire, but if you were to ever leave, you would get that additional amount on top of the 240. So in essence, you can get paid more than the 240 if you have that bonus leave. So for retirement, when people come in to talk to me, so you will get the 240 up to that on your vacation, any old bonus that you have, then your sick leave will roll over into service time. So for those of you who probably have thousands of sick hours, it's very beneficial. So if you were to take that number, because that's in hours, and divide by 8, you're going to get the number of days. Then you divide that number by 20, because it's based on 20 business days. So for every 20 business days you have, it's equivalent to another month of service time. So whatever your number is, if it's 14.01, they're going to count that as 15 months. So for any number over that decimal, it rounds it up to the next month.
So if you have 8 days left over, you got, just say you have 2 years and 8 days.
You get, well, they go based on months because you're dividing it by the 20 days.
Right.
So
it'd be
yes,
24 months.
yes, you would get 24, and then if you had a few extra days, you get 25 months.
25. But if you took 7 of those 8 days off, you still had 1 day in that month.
Yep.
It would
As
still
long
give
as
you
that
the whole
decimal point is over.
I thought everybody else would.
I mean, I will have people that come in and say, okay, I have this much vacation, but just remember, this is another good fact though. When you're looking at retiring and you have over 240 in your vacation, now you can use that because you're not going to get paid for it. But also remember that vacation time will roll over into more sick time when you retire. So whatever you don't use over the 240, I'm going to roll that in and add that to your sick time as well. So that's going to add more time for you. But as far as the payouts go, I always suggest, and you're not required, but I do let people know who have big payouts. If you've got 240 plus any bonus, 401k or 457, you could do either or both. And obviously it has to be on a pre-tax basis so that you will get the benefit of not being taxed so heavily when you get that last check. And the last check is always a check. And lately, and I'll kind of put it out to you all, and since this is being recorded, I've had a lot of people leave. It's not just when you retire. If you all are ever going to leave, and I'm not saying you are, but just always stop by to see me, because I think people forget when they leave, they forget to come see me, because it's really important. I'm going to be paying you out for your vacation as well. But if you're going to another state agency, other state agencies have their own requirements. Like, we will take in 80 hours of vacation from somebody else who's worked for another state agency. Now, some other state agencies might take nothing. They might take more than the 80. They might take everything. So it's really important when somebody's leaving here, especially if they're going to another state agency, to come sit with me so I can kind of go over those scenarios, because I would hate to pay you out vacation time and then you're like, well, Carla, I'm actually going to another state agency and they accept X number of hours. Well, then I've got to void your check and kind of go through a whole process that could have been avoided if people just think to come see me before they leave. Because also I like to go over benefits. Because if you were to leave, or like if somebody retires, for instance, your health insurance, as long as you work, well, with retirement, you have to retire on the first day of a month. It's always the first day of a month. And with retirement, and with if you were leaving to go somewhere else, they don't like for you to say take off the last week, because I'm supposed to be paying you up until the last day you work. So if you're going to retire, say May 31st, you should be working till May 31st, and your retirement date is going to be June 1st. So with that being said, when you retire or leave, as long as you've worked that whole month, we're going to carry your insurance through the end of the following month. Now, if you're leaving and you leave more than halfway through the month, as long as you've completed more than half of the month, I'm going to carry you also through the end of the following month. But that's only with the state health plan. All the other benefits that you have will end your last day that you work. So if you're retiring, May 31st you're retiring, all your benefits, the life insurance you have, supplemental life, dental, vision, any of those other benefits will end on that last day. Now, with the supplemental life or Colonial or Aflac, with Colonial Aflac, since they're more or less your policies and I'm kind of the middleman to facilitate payment for those, you can take those with you. Now it's up to you to contact Colonial and Aflac to let them know you're leaving or retiring so that payment can be set up for you to take on that. The supplemental life, you can also, I tell people a lot of times, talk to Scott Roberts. There's a way that you can, and forgive me, I don't remember, it's like portability and also conversion, and I can't remember which one is which, but you can do one or the other with the $40,000 that we pay for you and then any supplemental that you might have. So if there's a chance that you don't have life insurance outside of CCCC and you're looking at maybe taking that with you, it'd be worth it just to give them a call to see what the rates are so that you can take that with you. But those are the important things when somebody gets ready to retire or leave that I always like to talk to them about. Comments?
Your vacation reserves.
That is only on June 30th. Only once a year. So in June, anything that you have over 240, and the way that we have to do it in the system, you will not see it on your pay advice when you see that taken, the accrued and taken. You won't see it because I have to do it behind the scenes with the way that it works because of fiscal year end. So just know in July, when you see your pay advice and your vacation is suddenly different and your sick is different, it's because I took that difference, moved it out of your vacation and put it into your sick. So there's just no way for me to get that to be on the pay advice with the way that we have to do it. Because as you all know, I'm sure you know, leave is for the accrued piece that you see on your pay advice, that is for that month. You're paid for that month, the leave is accrued for that month, but the taken is always a month behind. So just always remember that. Is everybody liking e-forms, by the way? I'm just curious. The electronic forms. That's the old way, I think, anyway. Anything else?
They're fine.
Retiring, any benefit questions? Open enrollment will be October this year. I know Daisha was talking about it when I first came in. She said, isn't there something coming up in April? And I said, not this year, because this is the first year everything will smoothly transition. Like, well, last year was in October, but now everything will be in October again. So that will be everything. Flex, if anybody has Flex, just always remember you have to sign up every single year. Flex never, ever, ever rolls over. So now the amount does, the $500 does, but it won't. You won't automatically be enrolled next year if you're in it this year.
If somebody were thinking of retiring, what kind of advice would you give in terms of how far out should you be looking before they come see you or talk to the state?
So there's a few different ways that you can do it. I have people that'll contact me way in advance just to talk to me about, what am I looking at? Let me look at my years of service. Let's look at our sick time. Let's look and make sure they qualify, obviously. But the way that the retirement system likes it, no more than 120 days before your retirement date to 90. So in that 120, 90-day window is when it's best to submit the paperwork. Because you want that, well, I'm assuming, you'll want that first retirement check on the 25th of the month that you retire, because retirement checks go out on the 25th of the month. So any time between that 120 days from your retirement date, 90 days to your retirement date, any time in that window, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but you're pretty much gonna be on track to get your retirement check on the 25th of the month that you retire.
Carly, can you specify, so, I have many years left before I can retire, but I still like to know, I hear all of these, 60 years and 30 years of service. Can you kind of spell that out? And what does that mean for benefits? Because I get so confused with, and like I said, I'm nowhere near it, but it's just good to know in
Right.
case anything ever happens. When do you get full benefits, and what does that mean? How many years of service?
So for unreduced benefits, which the teaser's handbook, retirement handbook, is out on the internet. I think it's under the business office, and it's really, really helpful, because if you really wanted to do a more accurate calculation of what you thought, you can do that by hand, or I suggest people go to Orbit, which is myncretirement.com, and do the benefit estimator. For those of you that are closer to retirement or thinking more about it, there's actually a form out there that you can submit to the retirement system with all your specific information, and they will send it back and give you, if you do your maximum allowance, this is what your monthly benefit will be. If you do any of the survivorships, this is what your monthly benefit will be, or the 2 pop-ups, so and so. So you can definitely go out and submit that form to them, and they will mail it back to you in a pretty timely manner, because I don't like to, even though I have the formulas, would not ever want to try to project what your retirement benefit would be, because I leave it up to them, since they have, the factor and all that. But Daisha, to go back to your question, so unreduced benefits, it's 30 years of service at any age, then it's 20 years of service at 60, and then it's 5 years at 65. That's unreduced benefits.
What does that mean when you say unreduced?
So unreduced means, again, if you look at the teaser's handbook, there's a chart. So if the reduced benefits are, say, if you're just slightly under that, you might be at 94% of 100% of your retirement. So there's a slight reduction if you don't meet those age requirements, and I don't know the reduced age requirements.
So that's
off
not
the
on
top
your
of my head.
benefits, but that's on your.
That's
pay.
your monthly retirement check.
Your
Yes,
pay,
that would
okay.
be on your monthly retirement check.
What about benefits? Are you fully?
So then there's the issue with the state health plan. So if you were hired prior to October 1st of 2006, you only needed 5 years of service to get your health insurance at 100%. So now, if you are after October 1st of 2006, you have to have 20 years of service to get your health insurance paid at 100%. If you're between 10 and 20 years, you get it paid at 50%, and anything less than that, you have to pay the full amount.
Very good. I knew there was.
Yeah, there's some, and as Tamara told me this morning, and I don't know if you all heard on the news, what they're proposing is that anyone hired on July 1st of 2018 will not get a state retirement nor health benefits when they retire, when they reach retirement.
Say that date again.
July 1st, it's still out there to vote on, but that anyone hired on July 1st of 2018 would not, there would be no North Carolina retirement for state employees. You saw that? Did you see that? That's sad.
It's atrocious for attracting teachers.
I was just thinking, that's exactly what Tamara and I were saying.
There's no way anyone's gonna go into education if they want to.
Well, even a state employee as well, like, how are you gonna attract a pool of people who have always thought, oh, I wanna work for the state because I'm gonna get, retirement and health insurance and that kind of thing.
Yeah, somebody with 401k or what have you is.
There's no guarantee, there's no guarantee
Getting
with
that
that.
through the legislature though, sort of.
Yeah, well, hopefully it won't. But there's been, to let you all know too, there's been big changes now with the new state treasurer. I don't know if you all saw about the state health plan. Next year, and it's been approved, and I did get the email yesterday, is that there is no more 8515, which is that CDHP that they pushed so hard because it was so rich. It actually has cost quite a bit, not just that plan, but certain things that have happened to the state health plan with regard to state employees. There's been such a disparity and there's a huge liability. So they are doing away with the CDHP. So I know we have a few, so if any of you are on it, be thinking about what you want in 2018, because that's going away. Then, because they're trying to get us in line with what other states are doing as far as health insurance, it's just gonna be the 80-20 and the 70-30, back to kind of what it was, I guess, before I even started. It's gonna be $25 is gonna be the lowest amount you could pay, and it'll be on the 70-30, and your lowest amount you could pay on the 80-20 is gonna be $50 a month. Now, that is more, but I still try to remind people, that's $50, so that's $35 more than we're paying now. But just remember, it's also pre-tax, it's not gonna hit your pocket too hard. But they are doing away with all the wellness activities except the tobacco attestation. So all of us, 80-20, 70-30, we're just gonna have to do the tobacco attestation, because they were saying that it was confusing people and, too many credits and all that stuff, so.
So do you still have to pay $25 for the 70-30?
Yes,
You do
there
that?
will not be, from the way I read it, there would not be a employee-only zero premium anymore. So,
When do you get to a point of diminishing returns? Because I call this the Ray Epley rule. You know what I mean? Ray served here 44 years.
Yeah.
You know, we have some
Mhm.
people that are, you know, shooting for that and everything. I'm a youngster, I feel like I could put in a few more. But when does it become,
I don't
Like, I'm
know
open
what
to
that
bunnies and
magic
stuff.
number is. I wish I did. Tamara and I talk about this too, because, you know, Tamara has 30 years, and so I do go to her a lot for, you know, insight and stuff. And she talked about a coworker, I believe she had years back, that talked about that. Now, I don't know if it's 38, I don't know if it's 40, I don't know if it's as you creep up into the 30s where it becomes that way, but there was someone that had told her that same thing, that at some point, you're basically losing money the
Right.
longer you work. But I don't know what, unfortunately, what that magic
Okay.
number is or where that is, because, you know, we had Polly who was here forever. Yeah, I mean,
42 or something?
yeah, we've had quite a few.
When you, okay, and so when you sever service with the state after 30 and you're doing your full bennies, you can't work for a state institution.
For 6 months.
For 6 months, that's
Yes.
still the,
Still 6 months, but you can work anywhere else. I mean, you can go be a Walmart greeter or any other job and work full-time, I mean, in all honesty, and still get your full benefits from the state of North Carolina. You just cannot come back in any capacity. Now, you can work for local government. We've had actually a few people that have done that, which I didn't even know. We have a couple people that are 100% retired from local government, but now work for us full-time, and it does not affect their local retirement. So,
so we can go work for a living.
right. So I would assume reciprocity, well, there's reciprocity, but I don't know, I would assume it would work the same way. I mean, local government would be, you're not state, you're local, so maybe you could do that. But yes, we do have a couple individuals that have done that recently.
What about your
Oh.
children?
Scott, I'm sorry, oh,
Your children, if
Mhm.
you're covering them on under your benefits, and say you reach retirement age and you still have a child that you're covering, when you retire with full benefits,
it's only your coverage, not theirs.
you
You
but-
have to pay for the dependent part.
okay, so but you could still elect the same coverage.
Right, except for when you're 65. If you're 65 and you retire, Medicare becomes your primary and the state health plan becomes your secondary, and then you're limited to the 70-30, or what they call you now it used to be United and Humana, now it's United Healthcare Base Plan and Enhancement. So one of those would be your option. But you don't have to. I mean, some people choose to just go with Medicare and let it be. But when you're 65, Scott, I'm sorry.
So if you have money in the consumer health plan, what happens to that next year? Did you?
I'll have to look at the email, but I feel like the email said it would be only services rendered during 2017, but they would have up until, I think, March of 2018 to submit those against your HRA, but you wouldn't get the money.
So you have to get sick really fast.
Yeah. In December, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm not feeling so well.
Because of work done, okay, all right.
Yeah, unfortunately. I'm quite surprised because the state health plan pushed so hard for the 85-15 and did so many wellness things, you know, the rival health and all of that. I'm really surprised that they are ditching it. I was thinking of something about retirement that I was gonna mention.
Another question though about the
Yeah.
65 age.
Yes.
On healthcare.
Mhm.
So if you retire, that Medicare.
Medicare,
Takes over.
Right.
What if you're currently employed at 65?
you're fine. You could still have the state health plan as your primary.
Takes over.
Right.
What if you're currently employed at 65?
You're fine. You could still have the state health plan as your primary. As long as you're working full-time, the state health plan will be your primary. It's not until you retire that it becomes your secondary, or this becomes your secondary, so. Just trying to think of something else about retirement that I was gonna mention, and I can't think of what it was.
So tell us, Carla, the percentage that the college puts in their overtime, is it 14?
No, it's 16.54% now,
16.5.
0.54%. It went up twice this year.
I thought it was at 14 at one point.
Well, it could have been, but that was a while ago. It's 16.54 right now.
And then we automatically contribute 6%?
Yes, 6%.
6%, so when we look on our pay advance,
Yeah,
and we see that
RET for retirement.
RET, that's what we're contributing?
Yes.
Okay.
And when you log into your Orbit account, you would see your 6%. You'll never see what the state puts in for you. On the retirement, let's see, there was, oh, Talia, go ahead.
How do you, I guess, contribute more to it if you,
You cannot. I do get that question.
alrighty then.
Yeah, that's why we offer the supplemental retirement plans of the 401k and the 457. So because I get that question a lot, especially for new employees who've never been state, I say, no, you can't contribute more than the 6, and no, you can't ever take out a loan against it. If there's ever a way that you would want to do that, the 401k and the 457 are your options. Something else interesting just about the 401k, if any of you have prior state service that you wanted to purchase back, I don't know if you all know, you can use 401k money to purchase that time. And
Prior state.
prior state service, so if you worked part-time for another state agency, which doesn't count towards your service time, but you wanted to purchase that, you can fill out a form on the retirement website. There's a form for purchasing back time. You send it in to them, you tell them where you worked, what was the time period, they can go back and look at that, and then they will tell you how much that would cost you. Now, purchasing back part-time service is more expensive than full-time service because you never had the matching employer piece. So if you were purchasing back full-time service, it'd be less expensive because you're really purchasing back the 6% that you took out. Whereas the matching is technically, theoretically, still there. Because you can never touch that or take it out unless you retire, and that becomes part of your retirement.
Does that have to be part-time permanent or part-time?
No, it can be part-time service of any kind, yeah. Yep, a state agency. And you don't have to purchase it all. So if you had a year and a half or 2 years or whatever, and you could only afford X amount, I'm pretty sure you can purchase back only what you could afford at that time or whatever you wanted to at that time.
So Carly, what happens if you leave and that money that you contributed to your retirement, you don't go to another state agency?
So as long as you have 5 years, you can leave it there till you're 65 and get an unreduced retirement from the state of North Carolina. So I always suggest to people, and I would never tell you what to do, but when I have people that possibly leave and they have their 5 years, but they're not going to another state, I say just leave it. Just think about it and leave it, because if you take that out, you cash it out, you're in essence getting rid of your North Carolina state retirement. So, but for those that have under 5 years, it's totally up to them. You can leave it there, but you can never get a North Carolina retirement check, down the road. What I tell people who have under 5 years, if they are going to take it out, just remember you're going to be penalized. It'd be better to roll it over into another retirement option, like a 401k or something. Yeah,
Question,
sure.
been here a while, but if my first 6 years, it was paid hourly.
Mm-hmm.
That's never
Part-time.
considered, could you buy that back in those hours?
So yeah, you would probably be a perfect candidate if you were part-time. You could look at purchasing back some of that. You could purchase some now. I think you could purchase some later, because I know people that have done that. And I know with military service too, if there's a way to purchase some of, or convert that, or move it into state. I mean, there's something with military service that can be done with the state of North Carolina too.
For the benefits, let's see. You said, I think it was like 20 years to get full benefits.
20 years of state service, yes. To get full state health plan, yes.
And if you started working before October 1st, 2006, and then you took the year off for part-time, is it still, or is it 20 years at that point? Or is it the 5 years?
That's a good question, Amy. I'd have to ask them about that. So prior to,
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, right now you're 12 years with the state.
yeah. Now, you all remember when it was, well, a lot of you have been here a long time, but it was 5 years, and then in 2011, it went to 10 years. So then, but it's back to 5. So everybody, you have to have your 5 years of being vested.
What's South Carolina?
I don't know.
Virginia?
Dr. Mark, didn't he work in South Carolina?
Virginia's been.
Yes.
If you do purchase back time, and it's before that 2006 mark, are you only purchasing the time, or does it kind of roll that back as well?
My guess would be worst case scenario, you're just purchasing back the time. and wouldn't necessarily get the benefit, but I could ask him about that if you want me to.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Because it's just like with the retirement, so to hit those unreduced benefits, you can use your sick time to get to the years of service milestone, but the joke is always you can't use the sick time to make yourself older. So, 30 years at any age, you can use your sick time to get to the 30 years of service, but obviously, or no, that would be a bad example, I'm sorry, 5 years of service, or 65. You can use it to get to that 5 years, but you can't use it to get yourself to 65. So you have to be 65 and say you had 3 years of service and 2 years of sick time, then you'd be good. I mean, not that you could get that many years of sick time in that time frame, but just to kind of give you an idea of what that means. That's mine, because I'm trying to get to 63 with 2 years of sick leave to get to the 20.
But you can get to the 30, I mean, you can use your sick leave to get to the 30 at any age, right?
Yes. Yep. That's the easiest one. I call it like CCCC's, it's baby boomer period, because we've had so many people with so many years of service that just in the 18, almost 2 years that I've taken over since Terry retired, with the years of service that have retired, I mean, there's been quite a bit, because you look at Teresa Mangum and Polly Bolden and Patty Simmons and all those people and built up Mr. Tyson, so yeah. There's been quite a bit.
Where do we go to look about that?
So if you just go to myncretirement.com, which is the North Carolina retirement system, you don't even have to log in. They're up in the upper right corner, it'll say forms. If you just go under forms, you can search all kinds of forms. All the forms are there. So purchasing back time or the retirement estimate, you can get those.
But like the bonus, some of the bonus I use when I was on maternity leave. Can you buy that back?
No. Bonus time, unfortunately. Did you use bonus leave? Oh.
The bonus from years ago that we had, 25. I
Oh,
guess it's the 25 days.
yeah. You used
I used
it?
part of that. I didn't use
Yeah,
it.
not all of it, part of it, no, unfortunately not. That's why I've tried, I only received 1 week since I've been here, and I'm holding on to that like nobody's business. I'm like, I don't care if it's 1 week, I'm gonna hold on to that for 20-something years. I am not using that, because I can get paid 280 hours. But for those of you with the retirement options, there's the maximum, and then the 100% survivorship, 50% survivorship, and then the 2 pop-up options. I don't know if anybody wants more on that.
What does that
Sure.
mean?
So, when you fill out your Form 6, which is the retirement form, I always suggest people, if you are thinking that you may want to leave something to somebody else in the, God forbid, that you would pass before you got paid your retirement, put their information on there. You don't have to take it. It's just you're telling the retirement system, here's my Form 6, and here's my beneficiary if I choose one of those options. And that beneficiary is pretty much set in stone. So it's, and with children, because I have more than one, you can't split it between your kids. I've had people ask, so you'd have to pick that favorite child. No, I'm just kidding. Which one of my betting is gonna last long? No, I'm just kidding. I always tell my kids, I'm like, oh, just remember, you gotta pass me around. I'm gonna have like the mom little pod, and I'm gonna come stay and visit you all. But the survivorship, the way that works is what you're saying is, and your monthly benefit would be reduced. So if you're saying that you want to leave 100%, meaning your retirement check, if God forbid something happens to you, is gonna go, that amount in full will go to your beneficiary. So obviously you're gonna go, here's your maximum retirement check. Now we're stepping down a little bit, because now you're saying the actuarial people are going, okay, how long is this person gonna live? How long do we have to pay them for? So that's gonna reduce your amount. Or the next option is 50%. So you're saying that if something happens to you, your beneficiary is gonna get 50% of what you were getting for the rest of their life. Now there's the 2 pop-up options. So what you're saying is, if something were to happen to your beneficiary before you will pop back up to 100% to your maximum retirement. And then there's the 50% option, so you pop back up a little bit, but I have to remember the math on those, so you'd have to let me know. But there's pop-up options, which mean if something happens to your beneficiary before you, because that beneficiary can't be changed. I don't think there's an instance. Divorce, maybe, but I'm thinking that one's pretty much set when you say, I want this person to be my beneficiary if something happens to me.
It can never be changed.
I don't think, I'll have to look that up to be quite certain, but I feel like it has to be maybe divorce, but I don't even know if that's it.
Not if your beneficiary goes before you do.
You're gonna hope that you have one of those pop-up options. If not, if you did the 100% or the 50%, you're set in that payment forever.
Right, but suppose I name a beneficiary and I outlive them. Can I make a new beneficiary?
No, I don't think so. Because it's based on their age when they do your retirement. I'd have to look, Fred, but I'm almost certain, because I feel that I was told a story about someone who had 2 children. They picked one child because one child had cancer, and they unfortunately were thinking that that one probably would not outlive them, and gave it to the other child. Well, the other child tragically died, and then the other one died, and so then there was nobody, and there was no pop-up option, so it was set for that amount. So there are those tragic times, so I'm thinking you can't on that. But it is really important too, to make sure that your beneficiary is set for the 6%. So say for some reason you retire and you pass before they've paid out your 6%, because they do look at it like, what is your 6% that you put in throughout these years? You wanna make sure that that beneficiary is set, because they will pay out your remaining 6% to them. Even if you didn't do one of the beneficiary options on your retirement monthly payment, they would pay out those, so, the death benefit.
What about the secondary beneficiary? How does that work then?
What do you mean the second?
I guess, seen there was something in Orbit about there being the primary and the secondary.
Contingent. So when you look in Orbit, you're looking at if you pass, and well, because right now too, as a full-time employee, don't forget, the state retirement has a life insurance policy on you. Minimum of 25, maximum of 50, it matches your annual salary. So they would pay out that and also your 6%, because your 6% will be paid back. So the way it works is you have a primary and a contingent. So you can have as many primaries as you want or contingents, but what it's saying is, if I pass, the primary gets it, and if I pass and the primaries are gone, I always tell people you don't have to have a contingent, but what does it hurt to have a contingent as well? Because if you're gone and they're gone, then if there's somebody else you want to leave it to, you can have the contingent on there as well. But as far as filling out retirement paperwork and that beneficiary, that's why there's only one box on the Form 6. It's only one person that they're going to estimate your monthly retirement based on.
And that 25 and 50,000
Life insurance policy?
life insurance, that goes away when you retire?
Yes.
Okay.
They will then offer you a $10,000 life insurance policy, which can come out of your monthly retirement check. And they will also offer you dental, I think, and vision. I gotta double check on that, but they will offer you some benefits that you can get through Pierce Insurance, and those will also come out of your retirement check. And then your retirement check, just like CCCC, your first retirement check is a check, and you are not officially retired until you deposit that check. So as Terry used to always say, if you don't go deposit that retirement check, you still could technically reverse your retirement and not actually retire.
So it's not direct deposit?
No, it is not. Not till after that first check. They will send you direct deposit paperwork for after.
30 days before they go into check.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
There is a point.
There is a
I don't know
void.
what it is, though.
And just remember, if you were to accidentally come back and work in any capacity for the state before that 6 months is up, you could pay some penalties on your retirement and have to, yeah, so it's really make sure you wait that 6 months before you come back.
6 months after you deposit that check.
Right?
It's big penalty too, I think.
I think so. I think you have to like pay back. It's definitely not worth it.
No.
Anybody, I mean, I know as much as most people love the state and want to come back and work, because we do have a lot of people that retire and, will come back and work for either us or somewhere else, and just make sure you wait that 6 month waiting period.
So do you actually have the formulas for the 100%, 50%?
I don't.
You do?
I do in my office, I can show you the, yeah. on
That's
the-
what I figured. How come so?
Yes. And by all means, I mean, my door is always open, so, I mean, I welcome people stop by all day, every day, so I don't mind, call me, email me, if you have questions that you can think of after, you know.
Are there any penalties if you draw Social Security and you're still on the state
Well,
payroll?
that's right, there's the Social Security leveling option too, if you're not 62, which that one throws me for a loop too. So there is also the retirement option, if you retire under the age of 62, then you could do the Social Security leveling. So what you're saying to the retirement system is, this is what I think I'm gonna get from the Social Security. So your monthly retirement check is gonna be a little bit higher based on what they think you're gonna get from Social Security. But then you have to make sure, and I'd have to look at the exact requirements, but at some point before you turn 62, you have to make sure you go to Social Security to apply for retirement. Because once you hit 62, the state of North Carolina is gonna go, oh yeah, we were leveling you, now we're not, because you can get your retirement from Social Security, so you're gonna have to make sure you get that Social Security money to get the checks to match together. So, I forgot, thank you for reminding me, I forgot, I always forget about that one option. But if you're already 62, you can't do that option. Because they assume you've already gone to,
So you're getting two checks.
yeah, at 62, you should be getting 2 checks, North Carolina and your Social Security. But North Carolina is just basically, before that, hedging what they think that you're gonna get. And then you have to go to the Social Security office and get a printout to submit with your paperwork so that they can look to see what the Social Security is estimating that you will get. But a lot of people don't like to do that now anyway, because you have income requirements now on Social Security if you're not there, whatever they say your retirement age is, which is usually like 66 and a half or whatever it is. So between like 62 and 66 and a half, you can only make this amount per year, or you pay penalties on that too.
Yeah, though, if you do that, you can't ever have a beneficiary, like, I mean, if you do the leveling and you die, then
Oh, that's a
then
good
your money,
question.
your money is gone. You don't have a beneficiary to get the rest of your retirement.
That's a good one, Vicki. I don't think I've ever had that
Because I
question asked.
think, yeah, I think that's happened to a couple of people.
Leveling. I don't have any people pick that option. No. Anything else I can think of? No? Well, again, if you have anything, just let me know.
It's been very informative.
Oh, thanks. I try. I wanted it to be, I told Daisha, I'm like, if you're gonna convince me to do this, I said, I want it to be more of an open, I don't wanna just get up here and, you know, speak about things that people may or may not wanna hear about. Leave it up to you all to ask whatever questions that you think.
Let me just make sure I'm clear on something.
Yes.
So like on your vacation time,
Uh-huh.
you can build up 240.
Yes.
And then it starts rolling over into
Your sick.
time.
So if you're still
But once a
working.
year.
Yes,
Right?
yes, June 30th. So when fiscal year ends, we have to clear out anybody, any full-time employee that has over 240 hours, we clear it out and move it to your sick. And then also, when you retire, we're gonna pay you for the 240, and anything over 240, I'm gonna automatically roll into your sick. And then part of the Form 6 is, it's super easy for you. So you fill out the front, which is your name, address, the beneficiary information, you flip it over. The rest is for me to fill out. I tell them now, how many sick hours do you have? How much vacation am I paying you out for, a bonus, and all that. And you do get a portion of your longevity too. So if you've been here 10 years and you get longevity, don't forget, when you leave and or retire, I'm gonna pay you the months, if it's not a full year, I'm gonna pay you the months that we owe you from the last time we paid your longevity. Hopefully that won't go away.
Could that be rolled into the 401?
Yep. So a lot of people will say, you know, they had 240 hours and say their vacation and bonus and longevity was gonna be another $7,000 in their check. Some people will say, okay, take 5 of that and put it in my 401k or 457. Because I have a one-time contribution form that I give people that are retiring to fill out and just let them give it back to me. then you get that pre-tax.
So the vacation time doesn't factor in on retirement in terms of?
It does not. Nope, only sick time.
Only the sick time?
Yes.
When you retire, let's say you've got 240 of vacation, could
Mhm.
you go ahead and roll that over to sick time, or do you have to pay that out?
No, I'll have to pay it out.
You have to pay it out?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's just the sick leave. Which a lot of people, I mean, it's beneficial because once you've been here a while, as you know, you can accumulate over the 240 and have it rolled over, so I know there's some big balances. Oh, donated leave, I know it's just something new, but there's potential, I don't know if you've heard the new rule, and I don't know if it's official, but about donating to non-family members, sick leave to non-family members. That should be coming out, because I know we've had a lot of people ask for donated leave over the last probably 6 months or so. So there might be, because I've had people ask, can I donate, my sick leave, and typically you weren't able to unless it was a family member. So now they're just gonna open it up to non-family members. Thank you guys for coming.